Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're leaving the cliche tourist traps completely behind to map out an authentic cross-borough journey of New York City. If you've ever felt, totally overwhelmed by the crushing crowds of Times Square or those endless lines at typical Midtown attractions, well, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to bypass all that noise and curate a perfect day that feels less like a stressful tourist checklist and much more like a lived, local experience. So, want to experience New York City like an actual local? Let's dive right into this and discover how to skip the crowded landmarks and spend a perfect day exploring the hidden gems and neighborhood favorites that truly define the city. What we've gathered here from actual locals and experts is essentially a blueprint for seeing the city's true character. This explainer is all about empowering you with the knowledge to navigate New York's boroughs like a seasoned veteran. Here's our agenda for the day. We'll kick things off with Manhattan morning strolls, move into Brooklyn on a budget, head up to the Bronx's Little Italy, and wrap things up with hidden NYC speakeasies. Section 1. Manhattan morning strolls. Starting the day right. Let's get some fresh air and totally avoid that typical Midtown gridlock. New York might be a concrete jungle, but locals know exactly where to find pockets of absolute tranquility to start their day. We've got a fantastic list of local-approved walking paths here. You can hit the High Line, and a quick pro tip for you, walk it from north to south, winding your way right down to the river. If you're craving something a bit more traditional, go get beautifully lost in the winding paths of the Ramble in Central Park. For sweeping water views, the stretch from the Battery Park City waterfront straight to the Winter Garden is practically unbeatable. Or, if you're willing to head further uptown, Fort Tryon Park and the Cloisters offer an almost medieval escape right in the middle of the city. Moving right along to Section 2. Brooklyn on a budget. Culture without the cost. As lunchtime hits, we're hopping across the river. Because let's face it, New York can be incredibly expensive, but you absolutely do not have to empty your wallet to experience the best it has to offer. Forget the bougie, overpriced alternatives. You can grab breakfast in Greenpoint at Frankel's for some amazing classic Jewish deli lox, or if you have a sweet tooth, make a beeline for Peter Pan Donut and Bakery Shop. It's a Polish neighborhood staple that's been there forever. And hey, if you're visiting in the summertime, you've got to try this insider secret. Ask them to put a scoop of ice cream directly inside your donut. It is literally absolute heaven. The crucial point here is that while Brooklyn has gentrified pretty rapidly, you can still find one-of-a-kind, low-cost activities that really capture the borough's original creative spirit. For an ideal afternoon in Williamsburg, start by people watching in McCarran Park. Then duck in to browse vinyl at the legendary Rough Trade Records. It's a massive music shopping experience that's becoming super rare these days. Into fashion? Hunt for vintage menswear at Urban Jungle over in Bushwick. And when you get hungry again, bypass those expensive sit-down spots and grab an unbelievably satisfying $6 tongue torta from the taco truck parked right at North 6th Street. All right, Section 3, the Bronx's Little Italy, authentic flavors. Heading north for the afternoon to a neighborhood that has fiercely preserved its culinary soul. There is a stark contrast between the two Little Italys in this city. Manhattan's Little Italy has unfortunately become highly commercialized. It's tourist-centric and honestly often feels a bit more like a theme park than a real neighborhood. But up in the Bronx on Arthur Avenue, that is the real Little Italy. It's genuinely preserved heritage. When you walk down the street, you're instantly hit with the smells of baking bread and robust espresso pouring from family-owned, century-old shops. The passion for Italian culture is palpable in every single bite. And the legacy of Arthur Avenue is pretty incredible, even if it is ironically named after an American president. Tracing its timeline, this neighborhood was built by Italian immigrants who arrived in the late 1800s to work on major projects like the nearby Bronx Zoo. Fast forward to 1940, and Mayor LaGuardia establishes an indoor retail market to bring vendors off the streets. By the 1950s, the area served as the cultural launchpad for local doo-wop stars like Dion and the Belmonts. It's even served as a backdrop for the Oscar-winning film Marty and a Lady Gaga music video. Today, beloved family spots like Mario's Restaurant remain absolute neighborhood fixtures. Finally, Section 4, hidden NYC speakeasies, the secret nightlife. The sun goes down, and it is time for a bit of Prohibition-era mystery. As our itinerary takes us deep into the clandestine underworld of New York's modern speakeasies, you really have to know what to look for. You might be walking past a standard, slightly grungy East Village hot dog joint called Criff Dogs, right? But what you don't realize is that it serves as a clever front for an upscale, gorgeous, wood-paneled, low-lit cocktail lounge called Please Don't Tell, or PDT. It's the exact same address, just two totally different worlds. So how do you actually enter Please Don't Tell?
Getting a drink here isn't just a transaction, it's a ridiculous but entirely real theatrical process. First, you find the Criff Dog's shop under the giant hot dog sign. You walk in and step inside this antiquated wooden phone booth against the wall. Then, you dial the number 1 on the rotary phone. A voice answers. You wait for the hostess to verify your reservation, and suddenly, the actual wall of the phone booth swings open to grant you access. It's an unforgettable transition from a gritty street straight into pure, crafted luxury.
Manager Jim Meehan perfectly summed this up when he said, "When PDT opened, everyone thought, holy crap, this is a trend." And I feel like we were one of the places that helped establish that, but I don't think we actually started it. Industry icons note that while covert entrances were once used to hide from the law, today they serve as an artful asylum from the tourists and the masses. It brings back that elusive, exclusive feeling the city thrives on. Now, if you want to experience actual, literal history, you have to visit the back room on the Lower East Side. At historical spots like this, you'll still find authentic details, like a sliding peephole on the door. This was a telltale sign of an illegal drinking den, and a stark reminder of an era when speaking slowly and clearly through that little slot could literally save you from being shot. Back in the 1920s, a simple misunderstanding at an unmarked door could turn deadly in a flash. The back room is actually one of only 2 real Prohibition-era speakeasies still operating in the city. To get in, you walk through a magnificent secret bookcase doorway. It hides a VIP lounge where legendary mobsters like Bugsy Siegel and Lecky Luciano used to hang out. And keeping with the absolute authenticity of the 1920s, if you order a cocktail here today, the bartenders won't serve it in a glass. They'll hand it to you in a white china teacup, exactly the way patrons used to hide their illicit liquor from the authorities nearly a century ago. So, what does this all mean for your next trip? The city changes every single minute, but its secrets are still out there. Which door will you open first? I hope this explainer empowers you to step off the beaten path and discover your own slice of the real New York City. From serene river walks and cheap Brooklyn eats to the deep-rooted Italian traditions of the Bronx and secret cocktail dens hidden behind hot dog stands, the true magic of New York just isn't found on a billboard. It's found by knowing exactly where to look. Keep these insider tips handy, stay curious, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.